Live from London, this is the Sunday Brunch with Graham Collum on Teachers Talk Radio. Welcome to your Sunday Brunch, guys. We are in the summer holidays. We're kicking back here on Teachers Talk Radio. Expect the same vibes. We're enjoying it. As usual on the Sunday Brunch, I'm not talking shop. I'm talking educators, not educating. I can't wait to get into it. What might you have been doing if you weren't a teacher? We are live from London. This is the Sunday Brunch with Graham Collum on Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live on the Podbean app or desktop player. Just head over to www.podbean.com/LSW/TT Radio or search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TT Radio. Or don't worry about all the Podbean stuff. You can just head over to ttradio.org, which is our very own website that has lots and lots of amazing stuff on there. All the previous shows from all the previous hosts and all the current hosts are on there to be listened to at your leisure. Because, of course, in your summer holidays, what more do you want than to listen to our lovely voices take you through the weeks of relaxing, hopefully, and enjoying the break and having a great time. How are you all? Are you all enjoying your summers? I hope so. I believe even Tom Hopkins Burke is on his break now. So surely that means everybody in the UK is now winding down, or in the world is winding down. Surely not really when I think about the world in general, but wherever you are, I hope that you're having a nice break. Hope you're having a nice Sunday. Today is Spider-Man Day. That's right, guys. I didn't make it up. Today is the anniversary of the first ever release of any Spider-Man content. Amazing Fantasy number 15 in 1962 revealed the hero that was to be Spider-Man. And that was on August 1st. So today is the anniversary of that. And so happy Spider-Man Day. If you are a fellow geek, then you will be hotly anticipating a trailer for the new movie. I don't think it's going to drop today, guys. I don't think it's going to drop, but that's what the world would have you believe and get excited for. So congrats. Happy Spider-Man Day. Welcome to Teachers Talk Radio, where we are teachers that like to talk, and we like to talk with you. Teachers is a plural, right? Just so you know, some punctuation guidance that's important for any listeners or any new listeners. Teachers Talk Radio has no apostrophes, right? So it's teachers, as in the plural of teachers, talk on the radio, right? That's the meaning of it. So it's not just me talking. You are welcome to talk yourself. If you wish to get involved in the conversation, and I very much hope you do through today's show, then you want to get on the Podbean app, guys. You want to get on the Podbean app. You don't have to. You can listen in through all kinds of mediums and platforms and wonderful ways. You could be on the TT Radio website. You might even be streaming on Twitter or something, for all I know. But if you want to chat, then the Podbean app is the place to be. On the Podbean app, there's a chat area. You can drop comments and I can respond to your comments live on the air. And you can let me know how you're feeling. You can let me know how your day's going, and we can have a little 1-2, and that's always good fun. But if you want to talk live, you want to talk to me in person, on the airwaves, in public, say what you want to say, then get on that Podbean app and there's a round grey icon, right? And you can click that grey icon and that will call in. And if I deem your call worthy, which I will, I nine times out of 10, the only time I won't answer a call is if I've already taken a call multiple times from that person and I'm quite sure that they're on the wind up. But otherwise, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinions. We have loads to talk through today. The main topic on the table today is a really awesome one I've wanted to talk about for a while, and it kind of suits a little bit of a mind-wandering summer holiday episode. It's all about what you might have been if you were not a teacher, right? Think about an alternative timeline. If you've been into your Marvel stuff lately, they've started dabbling in multiverses and alternative timelines. So I'm riffing off that a little bit and wondering, if you were not a teacher, where might you have found yourself? Perhaps there was a point in your life where you felt your life diverging in two directions and you had to choose a path, and there was the teacher path or the other path. And I want to know what that other path was. I'd love to hear from you. What helped you make your decision? Are you always happy with that decision? Have you sometimes questioned the decision and thought, what if? It's a question I'm throwing out there today. Saul is contacting us from South Africa. It's 12:04 in South Africa. Hello, everyone. Well, thank you for contacting. Is it Saul? Saul? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I probably am, knowing me and my uneducated ways in the world. It's 12:04. Now, I'm thinking probably middle of the day, 12:04, right? Not midnight. I guess the 12 is there. It's not zeros. So I'm thinking 12, it's lunchtime for you, right? We're on our brunch. You're on your lunch. Welcome to Teachers Talk Radio. Are you a teacher, Saul? If so, drop in those comments. I'd love to hear about your alternative realities, what you could be doing. Of course, I'll be sharing my alternative realities with you today. Careers I might have found myself doing if I wasn't a teacher. And there was a point many, many years ago, going back 10, 11 years, free teacher training. And I had these two early access points to two totally different careers. And I'll get into it later, but it was one of those fateful, which one do I do? And obviously I went with teaching and loads of other things in life. Then, of course, when you teach for a while, your whole life gets wrapped up in it. And you wonder, what if, people, what if? But before we get into that topic fully, we're going to talk about the topics of the world. There's a lot of things going around the news verse, the current affairs world that we want to pick apart as well. And so we're going to be doing all of that today. We're going to be doing that. But the main topic that usually we get into the main topic from about 11:30 to 12:30, which is when we end the show. We're going to get really into those alternative universes and what we might have done had we not been educators. Let's have a look. Weird a lick. I'm sorry. That's weird. Let's have a look. Saul says, not a teacher. Creepy, isn't it? Creepy slip there. Not a teacher, just a philosopher who enjoys thinking about education since both my parents were teachers. Well, that's awesome. A philosopher. Now, you'll need to enlighten me a little bit, and that was not an intentional pun on enlightening with philosophy. But a philosopher in terms of career. Don't start. Tom's jumping on the weird comment. Stop. All right. I moved on. We've moved on, Tom. All right. I don't want to hang about on my weird mispronunciations. It's the summer, right? I'm blaming the summer. Ice creams, I don't know. Make of it what you will. With the philosopher side of things, how does that look as a career? What are you doing day to day? Are you maybe you're in a university teaching philosophy? Maybe you're sharing philosophical ideas. Maybe you're investigating things for a certain cause. I don't know. There's an interesting route I wasn't expecting to go today. And that's why Teachers Talk Radio is awesome, because we can talk about all sorts of stuff. We have a philosopher in the room from South Africa. Let's see. My philosophy is transcendental realism. I live with my parents. My book's never sold. Hey, well, you know what? It's never what's the word? Never too soon, never too late, don't give up. You know, books are yet to sell, I'm sure. Transcendental realism. Well, here you go. Some free advertising, Saul, on here. Transcendental realism. You know, in a typically philosophical way, the more you say, the more I have questions to ask, which is very philosophical, isn't it? It's the investigation of asking questions. I'm a massive fan of philosophy, by the way, and I always try and bring it into my classes in year 6 as much as possible about the art of asking questions and turning those into more questions and having this extended, not needing answers, but instead the investigation, the journey along the way. Love it. Sentiment and Oblivion is Saul's main book. This is also, it just sounds like for a Sunday brunch, I'm overwhelmed already. We're 8 minutes into the show and we're on transcendental realism in philosophy with books called Sentiment and Oblivion. Look, it's the summer. Don't say sorry, Saul. So I'm glad you're here. I'm well chuffed to have somebody who's writing books called Sentiment and Oblivion, because they just sound wow. It's the summer holidays. So look, check out Saul's Sentiment and Oblivion books if you're into transcendental realism and philosophy. I should have done my vocal warm-ups this morning because I am finding the pronunciation fun. I'm finding it fun. Let's talk about what's going on in the news in the world today, because there has been stuff going on. Firstly, welcome to Teachers Talk Radio. A couple of people kind of roll in a few minutes past the start of the show. So you're listening to Teachers Talk Radio. I'm Graham Collum. This is the Sunday brunch, and I'm honored to have anybody on the airwaves in the middle of the summer holidays. So thank you for being here. We are on summer mode also. We're letting our minds wander today, and we're kicking back, as you should be if you're a teacher or a philosopher, present company accepted. So in the news lately, there has been this resurgence in the thought of Latin in schools, right? Latin, should it be taught? Should it be brought back? For some reason, someone up in the education sphere in the UK has decided, let's get Latin back on the books. there is an argument for it, and I'm open to that. I'm not going to lie. My university route was English language, so I'm a bit of a linguist. I appreciate language. I really love language roots and understanding what words mean, etymology, what things are all about. So when I'm teaching maths, right, and we got centimeters and meters and kilometers and millimeters, I'm all about those language roots and talking about milli meaning 1,000 in, and kilo meaning 1,000 of, and cent meaning 100, and there's your cents in a dollar, and there's a centipede, which people essentially round up to saying 100 legs, and a millipede is saying loads more than 100 legs, like 1,000 legs. I like language roots. I like the stuff. I love the journey of it. However, and there is a however, I just don't think the teaching of Latin as a discrete subject is necessary. I think the language links and the etymology can be taught as you teach other things. I think we can understand our language and understand the roots, and even, run a Latin club, which children can opt into. Honestly, in my own school, before COVID, there was a Latin club, and loads of children took part, and they learnt loads, and they loved it. Opt into it. But when children could instead be learning languages that are also going to teach them about roots of their own language, are also going to teach them about how English works, but they are applicable in the real world as well, surely that's better, right? Spanish, right? Hugely spoken all around the world. You're South America, you're west of North America, Spain itself, loads and loads, Portugal, loads of places, and it lends itself to lots of English words and understanding English roots. It also helps open the minds of English people to realize your language is not just its own thing on an island. It's a mix of Spanish and French and German and Latin and whatever. They're going to get that understanding if they learn French or Spanish or German or a number of other languages. So why not get them a language which is actually going to be applicable in the world? They're going to get jobs as translators, and they're going to have a skill for life that they can actually use when they travel, and then teach the Latin stuff as you go. I just don't think it needs its own discrete subject when we don't have a naturally bilingual community. Why English general speakers are not bilingual on average, right? So why are we leaning into Latin? Why is that the one that gets a priority? Just because it's got those roots. Let's have a look at some comments dropping in. I'm really glad to see comments coming in. You can, of course, call in if you like using the Podbean app. Saul says Latin is great because it opens the door to mutual intelligibility with French, Italian, and if you're religious, it opens up a whole bunch of old books, including Spinoza's works. Well, I agree with that. Absolutely. That it is one of these languages that does open up doors to history and etymology, to understanding the roots of current words in the language, and a deeper understanding of the language that we use. I understand it has purpose, but like I say, I'm not confident that it deserves its own discrete teaching throughout education. Tom Hopkins Burke says, Homo sapiens numquam contraventum urinat. Now, I could have a good pop at decoding that, but the only thing that makes me nervous is urinat, because the only way I can connect to that is through the language link of urine and we. And I just don't want to have a guess at what we're talking about. Humans, contra. I'm happy to have a pop up. Ventum, air, airing, urinat. Who knows? Teaching it is not as useful though, right? Saul has gone on to expand on his previous comment. It would be better to learn Chinese, which is just as old and has many more opportunities. I agree. Tim says our school hosted a conference for Latin teachers last week. That's the other thing that somebody brought up as I was kind of seeing this come in and people's opinions on it, was who's going to teach the Latin? Do we have enough teachers of Latin who know it well, or will it be one of these, like with many subjects in primary, where we kind of are hamming our way through it, learning it as we teach it, which isn't ideal, really. Tom Hopkins Burke is not opting into translating his Latin, but he's simply showing that he knows some Latin. So well done, you, Tom Hopkins Burke. Saul also says, I would love for schools to have a general language subject focusing on philosophy, like the hermeneutic circle, and the way languages all connect and lend from each other. Now that I'm well up for. Okay, Saul, I thought you were going off, and I thought I was losing my thread on this. I'm not going to lie, the hermeneutic circle, whatever that is, was throwing me. However, I am a massive fan as a fellow linguist and a low key. I certainly have space for philosophy. I'm a massive fan. Um, I agree with that the understanding the roots of language and the journey of language and the development of language over many continents and countries and how it changes it is so good for the mind and for understanding the world, and that we have not always been these separated countries with borders and passports. I think there's something to be learnt there in language. Again, though, does it need its own topic to be taught consistently, or could it be achieved in different ways? Could it be alongside another subject within another subject, perhaps as part of English teaching, as part of spelling in primary, we could perhaps talk about roots of language and where it comes from, and the words that don't follow English spelling rules because they're borrowed from India, or because they're borrowed from French, or because they're borrowed from Italian. Who knows? Um, it's a good chat, guys. It's a good chat. The Latin thing, but just so you know, to be clear about my own stance, I'm a fan of Latin. I appreciate the purpose of Latin. I know it's the whole thing. I know some people who don't know about it will just say it's a dead language, it's pointless, it's elitist, kind of posh people telling us what to learn. I understand there's more to it than that. I understand that there is a purpose in Latin. However, I think that a better priority would be Chinese or Spanish or German or even French or something. French, I think a little bit less so, because I think the only reason we learn it is because it's near to the UK. But it does have good language links to it. It's better than nothing. I would just, you know what? The other day, I had a little trip into London, and it was summer holidays. We had booked a hotel for a couple of nights. It was lovely, really lovely time away. On the train on the underground, right? I did observe at one point many languages being used, right? People on phone calls speaking in many languages, amazingly diverse, amazingly intelligent, and worth recognizing the bilinguality of, if that's a word, of citizens in the UK. And I just thought, they were all people who were culturally diverse. They were. I did not observe kind of white British people using multiple languages, and it made me feel a bit bad, if I'm honest. And rightly or wrongly, I felt a little bit bad, because I thought, I'm so far from that. I'm not educated in the language way. I wish I was. I wish I was bilingual, multilingual. A lot of children I teach are far more multilingual than I am. And I feel a bit bad about it. And I think it would be great to get our community and our country more multilingual, have them, mass languages, rather than just learn to count and stuff in French by the time they're 10. It'd be nice to take it a bit more seriously and give it a bit more of a priority. Michael Rosen had a bit of a post and a bit of a rant in the week about this, saying, why would we prioritize Latin when we are not giving other modern languages their fair due? We're not giving them the recognition they deserve. And I think that's really, really true. I'll read. There was a tweet I saw earlier today, and it really summed up my own stance. Let me just see if I can quickly grab it. It's not from Michael Rosen, this one. This is from someone called Steve Smith at SPSmith45. He says, a little thought. Time spent learning Latin may be marginal use in helping to learn modern languages. The same time might be better used learning a modern language. And I can't argue with that. I think, yes, great. Like, the thing is, Latin has that one role of, like, we can understand language a bit better and we can understand history a bit better. But the other languages that are still being used do that as well. And they they're applicable. They could lead to a job as a translator, that you can go to another country and use that language to communicate and get to know people. So I just think there are other priorities. I like Latin. I'm a fan of it. I teach it as I go. When I teach maths, I teach it as units of measure. When I teach spellings, I talk about, whenever you see this word part, this means that, bi means two, tri means three, whatever. The ones that mean opposites, like D and re means again. Things like this. Little language links should be taught, and I understand the role of them. I just don't think, if we're going to prioritize a language, I don't think Latin is the one it needs to be. What do you think? What do you think? This is your airwaves as much as it is mine. Well, it's mine a little bit more, I'm going to be honest. I'm here every week. So, but look, I would love to hear from you. If you want to communicate with me and share your opinion, get on that Podbean app, get on Teachers Talk Radio, and drop a comment in the comments section, or call in live and we can chat about what your thoughts are on this live in the room. Let's see. Saul has said a bit more.